guys, welcome back to the Pathways to Happiness podcast. My name is Nena Lavonne. I'm a life coach that specializes in self-development and life improvement. And today we are going to be talking all about changing perspectives, shifting paradigms, and questioning our core beliefs. But before we jump into all of that, I just wanted to take a moment and, of course, thank you so much for your support both here and on the Nena Lavonne YouTube channel. Your support means the world to me. And I also just wanted to check in. How is everyone doing with everything that is going on? It's almost like we have entered a new reality in some ways. It's incredibly surreal, and it's such a reminder that we have to get our priorities in order. I wanted to focus on something other than the coronavirus today, however, but I did want to remind everyone to please remember to safeguard your mental and emotional health right now. Also, I want to say that I believe they're kind of using the wrong term. It's not really social distancing, it's really physical distancing that we need to focus on. We can still be social without being near to one another. We can still call, text, Skype, we can reach out on social media, but please do not completely isolate yourself. It can really have a deep and significant impact on our mental health. We are really in uncharted territory, so just please remember to take care of yourself and take how you are feeling seriously, because again, these are things we've never gone through before, so it may bring up a variety of feelings. A lot of people are fearful and anxious. Other people are bored and they're feeling like they just kind of have cabin fever. So we want to take all of these things seriously. And remember, we are all in this together. We're all experiencing this at the same time as an entire globe. So you are not alone. We are all in this together. We will get through this, but please remember to really think about your mental and emotional health during this time. And we definitely need to be supporting and uplifting one another more than ever before. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. So we are going to be addressing the big factors that not only affect the quality of our life, but truly have a huge say in how we experience our lives altogether. We have a bunch of hidden programs and beliefs that are secretly influencing how we perceive and interpret the world. These are things that we don't always notice or question a lot of the time, and for most people, they can be incredibly negative and self-sabotaging. So I thought today we could talk about how we can kind of bring these things out into the open for ourselves, pull them out of the subconscious so we can have a look at them and see how they may really be affecting our life and our decisions. And of course, if we find out that they aren't really serving us, how we can start to change them and ultimately really start changing our life. So let's start with core beliefs. What exactly is a core belief? We can think of them as really just the thoughts or assumptions that we hold about maybe ourselves, other people, and the entire world around us. They are the ideas or principles that in our mind we can really value as fact, even if they are in no way true. They're the deep-seated beliefs that often go unrecognized but are constantly affecting our lives. So kind of in a nutshell, the core beliefs tend to be these central beliefs that really dictate our thoughts and our behavior about all of our life experiences. So these can be negative or positive. Some positive core beliefs that might be helping us are something like, I can do anything I want to do, good things happen when you make them happen, I am capable of figuring this out, I am a lovable, valuable person, I'm lucky to be alive, things of this nature. These would be some positive core beliefs. But more often than not, we tend to have negative core beliefs without realizing it. And some of these beliefs might be things such as the world is full of selfish people. I don't deserve to be happy. I'm a failure. There's no such thing as real love. People can't be trusted. Rich people are greedy. I will never be successful. Men can't be trusted. These are just examples of some of the negative core beliefs that might be really shaping our reality without us noticing. And unfortunately, negative core beliefs often play a role in many psychological issues. They affect our self-esteem, and they kind of control what we believe that we can strive for in our life. So they really keep us locked in a box of falsehood. So there's basically three different types of unhealthy beliefs that we have. So we have the unhealthy beliefs about ourselves, the unhealthy beliefs we have about others, and the unhealthy beliefs that we have about the world in general. So the unhealthy beliefs about ourselves, again, those are the things like we're a failure, we're incapable, we're unlikable, or anything else that really prevents us from doing our best. These negative beliefs about ourselves are often called self-limiting beliefs or just limiting beliefs. Now, the unhealthy beliefs about others, thinking that maybe everyone is against you, or they're manipulative or untrustworthy, or it's impossible to really develop healthy relationships, things like that. These beliefs are negatively, of course, influencing all our relationships because we never really trust these relationships. We are always going to question that they are genuine or that they will be lasting because of these beliefs. And then our unhealthy beliefs about the world are things like we are assuming we can't succeed in the world, or it's a very dark place, or that happiness is something that can't be found. So all these things are, again, really preventing us from having a happy and successful life because we have really this negative view about life altogether. And we have to remember that beliefs truly do turn into self-fulfilling prophecies. So unhealthy beliefs really lead to unhealthy habits. So I like to tell my clients it's almost like we are putting on glasses every single day. We are either putting on rose-colored glasses and seeing everything in a positive way that's going to make us feel good about ourselves and about the world, or we are putting on gray glasses and we are really dampening our chances of seeing anything to be positive because we are just assuming things are going to be going wrong for us. So the positive in all of this is that because these are not truths, because they are just beliefs, even if we think they are truths, they are just beliefs, and beliefs can be changed. Now, it's not always easy to change beliefs, but it certainly can be done, and it is very important that we do so. But we can't change these beliefs until we really identify and notice what these negative core beliefs really are. So we want to start paying attention during our day, and we want to start to notice different themes in our thinking. We want to notice our thinking altogether, first of all. A lot of times we just kind of let our mind run wild without really checking in, but we want to start being a lot more self-aware and a lot more observant about what we are thinking and these themes in our thinking. So if different situations tend to always come back to, a different thought pattern that is negative, this is something that we want to really pay attention to. So again, if in the back of our mind we are constantly thinking that the world is unfair, this is something that we want to take notice of, and we want to start writing these down. Every time we have kind of a thought that we can boil down to a basic core negative belief, we want to write these down because ultimately we want to start challenging them. We want to start looking at them. And we have to remember that we can't hold ourselves to blame for a lot of these. A lot of these negative core beliefs were actually taught to us by even sometimes very loving caregivers that had these views themselves, and they simply began to pass them down to the people that they loved. And that is something that does tend to happen. And other core beliefs we really start to formulate by our own personal life experiences. So a lot of times we will have even just a singular kind of traumatic event happen, and that can lead to a negative core belief that stays forever. So for example, if we are told as a child or as a teenager that we are ugly by someone, even if that is completely untrue, it leaves a little scar there, and that scar can turn into a negative core belief. So we can begin to think of our own self as ugly, even if, again, that has nothing to do with reality. So there's many different ways that these different core beliefs can come into fruition, but we want to start to, again, just question what they actually are. So another sign that negative core beliefs might be present is when we're having difficulty accepting or believing positive information or evidence about ourselves or about the others or about the world. So if we, do well at something, we want to question that, and we think that it's just a fluke, or if someone gives us a compliment, we may immediately dismiss it because it again goes against that negative core belief that we have about ourselves. And that again goes for, thoughts about our feelings involving others and the world in general. So you want to start paying attention and start seeing the themes of our thinking. And if we notice that these are really limiting ourselves, that is something that we really want to start working on changing, because what we believe really affects how we experience absolutely everything. So start making a list of how we feel about ourselves. What judgments do we have about ourselves? Do we think we are attractive? Do we think that we're confident? Do we think that we're smart? Do we feel that we're good at our job? Do we feel that we're a good parent? Do we feel that we're lovable? Do we feel that we are less than or better than other people? Do we feel that we are worthy of happiness? These are some of the questions that we can ask ourselves to see how we really truly do feel about ourselves. And we want to really answer these things honestly. The same thing about other people. We want to think about how we view other people and the different generalizations that we are making without realizing it. And that goes for how we view the world as well. Are we using words like no one and everyone? So we're kind of grouping everyone into a herd and assuming that all people are the same. Do we tend to notice good things in the world, or are we really focused on negative things in the world? Do we think that people in general are good, or do we feel that people are bad? And once we really have this list and we look at how we're really seeing the world, what colored glasses we're really viewing the world from, we can see how these core beliefs are really vital aspects in how we deal emotionally with the entire universe and how we are feeling about ourselves and everything else that we encounter. So can we change a core belief? Absolutely we can. We can just simply stop believing it. Once we can look at the actual belief, we just question it and see how much reality it's actually based in. And a lot of this just goes back to using the tools that we can find in cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is a subject that I did a whole in-depth video on in my YouTube channel, how to do and perform cognitive behavioral therapy on yourself as a form of self-therapy. So if you missed that, definitely check that out, because that can be an enormously helpful tool. Really, cognitive behavioral therapy is something that truly changed my own life. So that's something that I always suggest to other people. Now, it does take some effort to develop the awareness to really identify these limiting beliefs or these negative core beliefs. But once we do, all we need to do is argue against them. So the problem with most of these beliefs is that we hadn't identified them. We don't know that this is kind of the subliminal programming that's going on in our head. So we really let it run our lives without really giving it too much thought. So once we bring our focus to them, we can really see how much reality is in these beliefs. Is this really true? Are people all untrustworthy? Are whatever we believe, are women really evil? Do we really believe that? Is there a lot of evidence to support that fact? So much of the time, as soon as we really look at these beliefs, we know that they are even ridiculous in some cases, yet they have been influencing very critical areas of our life and oftentimes really preventing us from leading a happy and fulfilling life because we a lot of times don't believe that we deserve to or that we are capable of that or that the world is so terrible that why even bother. But if we look at these beliefs, we can really question them. And after we question them, we can completely reverse how we are thinking about them. And a lot of times it does take much work and reinforcement to remind ourselves of our new thought patterns. But once we get it into our programming, we can truly change our reality. We can always change our reality because beliefs are not facts. Beliefs are just beliefs. And, we can believe anything we want in this world. We can believe that unicorns are real. We could believe anything that we can think of. But it's not conducive to our mental health and our emotional health to believe things that aren't true. And so much of us have a reality that is completely based on feelings and assumptions about ourselves that truly are completely untrue. And for most people, they are extremely negative. Now, another factor that can really negatively affect our life is our mindset. So, of course, it is possible to have a very positive mindset, but a lot of times we have a negative mindset or one of various different negative mindsets. And the first one I want to talk about is feeling that we aren't normal or that there is a normal in this world. And when we think that way, we have the desire to conform to other people. We feel that we want to conform to the images we are seeing on television or on social media, or that, that there is some kind of social norm that we are for some reason not a part of. We are different than that. But I have to say, people are all different, and there's really no such thing as normal. Yes, there is a social norm, but as far as being a normal person, you get to decide what is normal. You get to decide what is best for your life. We can't always think that if we're different than other people, that is somehow inferior or negative in some way, because that is absolutely not the case. However you choose to live your life, as long as it is not harming other people, is totally fine and it's normal for you. We are unique creatures. We are supposed to be different, and different is certainly not the same as being less than. So if you are someone that constantly struggles with feeling that you are separate than others and you are, so different than other people and that you can't relate to other people or feel that other people can't relate to you, just know that you are normal because every person is normal. We're all normal. We are all our own normal. And that is the most important thing. Another big one I see is believing that you are a victim or believing that you are really powerless to make changes in your life, that if negative and bad things happen to you, you will have no control over what will occur because of that, and you just feel that constantly the world is against you. So we have to remember that we are not a victim and that bad things do happen, but we always have the control of how we think and how we believe and how we react to a situation. So no, we can't change everything in the world, but having that mindset that we are a victim is never going to allow us to really flourish in life. We're always going to be afraid. We're always going to be stepping back because we're always going to be thinking that other people and other circumstances are going to be doing harm to us. So that's something to check in with. Now, another one that I see a lot, and this is something that was happening for me many years ago, and that is seeing things always as obstacles rather than opportunities. So we have to remember that we are shaping our own life, and if everything that happens to us, if we automatically think of it as a problem, as a roadblock, as an obstacle, we are, again, never going to go forward because we're going to be intimidated by everything that comes in our path. We can't assume that everything in life is going to flow. There are going to be, little setbacks. There's going to be things that do affect what we think of as progress, but we can see them as opportunities for growth. Something else that tends to happen for a lot of people is having the belief that everything is permanent. Really, there is nothing in this world that is permanent. Everything is always changing, whether we like it or not. And that is probably a good thing. Now, I know there are many aspects of our life that we love and enjoy, and we wish that they were permanent, but maybe they just kind of shift and change. There are things that are kind of steady in our life, but we have to remember for the most part, the world is always changing. So when things or situations in our life aren't ideal, we have to remember that that is still the case, that this too shall pass. So we can't get stuck in one place because a situation is how it is for the current moment. There will be flow to life, there will be changes, so we just have to learn to go with the changes in life. And we have to remember that our life is not destroyed when things do change. Change can be enormously positive. Change can be, the catalyst for so much growth and actually happiness and enlightenment. So we just have to remember that nothing is permanent, and if we're in a situation that, again, really isn't ideal right now, just remember that it will not stay forever. There will be change, there will be flow, and there will be new possibilities for the future. Another mindset that I see a lot that I really want to talk about is believing in absolutes, or, using the terms always or never, and really making rules for our own selves. Now, I don't know why we feel that we need to always be making rules for ourselves. I know there are societal rules for us, and we have our own morals and values, and those are very important, and we often will feel very sad or feel some cognitive dissonance if we really stray away from those values and morals, and so they are there for a good reason. However, the idea of really making rules for ourselves in terms of always or never, or again, absolutes, I think is really, really dangerous and extremely self-limiting, especially because a lot of the internal rules that we make for ourselves, we make as, a 6-year-old or a 14-year-old, and we let these thoughts and these rules really decide our future. And we have to remember, as people, we evolve. We can't stick with something that we believed when we were 3.5 years old. We have to always be taking in new information and constantly questioning our own beliefs and our own rules for our lives, because realistically, life is simply not in black and white. Life is in the grays. There are no situations that are identical to a past situation. Therefore, we have to use critical thinking every single time, and these absolutes, all these always and nevers, really stop the conversation for us before it even takes place. Every single time we need to re-examine these things, every single time. And remember again that so many of the rules that we have set for ourselves were set because they were given to us by other people who probably never questioned their own beliefs. So it is so important to always be checking in with ourselves and question ourselves, why do I believe that? Why am I making this a rule for myself? Is this something that is positive for me or negative? What am I gaining by having this rule? And is this a guideline, or is this a rule that I'm trying to strictly follow at all all times in my life. So that's something that definitely needs to be addressed, because a lot of times when we really look at these rules that we've been setting for ourselves, we realize that we've done nothing but harmed ourselves, because we haven't allowed ourselves to do the critical thinking that is necessary and kept ourselves away from sometimes a lot of happiness and a lot of fulfillment, because we haven't even allowed ourselves to consider breaking these rules or adjusting these guidelines and rules for ourselves. So that's something that I see a lot of times. Another mindset, and this kind of goes down to the negative core beliefs as well, but just the general belief that life is a struggle. When we have this feeling that, life is a burden, life is difficult, how are we going to see the world? Of course, we're going to see everything as much more negative than it actually is. And remember that optimism is something that can be learned. It's called learned optimism. It's something that we can work towards. So if we notice that we are pessimistic and we view life as a struggle instead of just a challenge, we're never going to come out ahead. We're never going to really have that enjoyment in life or that meaning in our life, because we are only seeing it as difficult. We're only waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're waiting for someone to betray us. We're waiting to lose our job. We're just waiting for these negative things to happen. And so much of the time, they never happen. But when we have that belief that life is a struggle, we experience this suffering as if these things really are happening. And that's why we really have to think about mindset, because mindset shifts everything. It changes everything. And when we have a positive mindset, we have a positive life. We have a castle that is built on a rock and not in the sand. So these are just a few of the millions of different negative mindsets that we can have. And I also did a video about negative mindsets on my YouTube channel, which goes into a little more depth of different types of negative mindsets that we often have without realizing. But we just want to always be checking in with ourselves and seeing what is going on in our head, because without doing so, our brain just goes to a lot of dark places and we get stuck in these negative thought patterns that don't allow us to live our best life and don't allow us to design our best life. And remember that we truly can design our life. We do not have to constantly let our external circumstances determine for us how we choose to feel. For example, in this crazy kind of time we are going on right now, I have made a commitment to my own self to be even more grounded, to be even more positive and optimistic about the world, because there is so much negativity that is surrounding us right now. We really need to safeguard our mental health and make choices about how we're ultimately going to view the world and view the circumstances. Yes, negative things are happening, but the world isn't negative, and that's really a distinction that we need to make. And there are so many other benefits of being optimistic in the first place. When we are optimistic, we experience better health, for one. Physical and mental health is improved by optimism. We achieve more, we're more persistent, we live longer, and we actually experience a lot less stress and anxiety in our life. So there are many, many benefits to becoming more optimistic and to really questioning both our mindsets and our core beliefs. So I really invite you today to spend some time in introspection, as I think we should do every day. But right now we have, for most of us, more time than we're used to having, because we don't have that time that we are going out. We are inside. We are social distancing, which again I think should be called physical distancing. But we have some time now for introspection. So I really invite you to look at your life and to see what your paradigm really consists of. Is it time to evolve and grow? Is it time to push past some of these negative core beliefs? So you want to think about what those might be for you. How are you thinking about yourself, about others and about the world, and what kind of negative mindsets might you have. Remember that situations are not facts of life. This is a situation, but this is not what defines our whole universe. So we have to remember that we always have the opportunity to shift our own perspective, and how we choose to view the world truly becomes our reality. You look around and there are happy people and there are unhappy people. And yes, their personal circumstances probably are somewhat different, but I also know that it's true that happiness or unhappiness much of the time comes down to our own choices and our own choice to label something as happy or unhappy, our own way of viewing the world. So think today about how you really are viewing the world and what changes that you could make to your own perspective to really shape your own life and shape your own paradigm into something that is really serving you. Because remember, when you have these negative core beliefs, you're really harming yourself, because beliefs are not reality. They're just beliefs. So we do not want to be the ones that are really harming ourselves and causing our own suffering. And remember also that you are the artist of your own life. You get to write your own story, and you can start rewriting your story today if you're not happy with how your life is going or how your story is going. It is all up to you. That is the beauty of life. This is our own life, and we can make it whatever we want to make it. So I just wanted to send out so much love today. I know that this is a trying time and everything is shifting around, and we feel that, we don't know what is going to happen. So I just wanted to offer my love and support and to remind you to be reaching out to the people that you love, because a lot of people are very confused right now. There is so much stress and anxiety. So you want to make sure that even if we can't be physically close to people, that we are being supportive to them in any way that we can be. So remember to still be social through, text, phone, again, social media, Skyping, however you can safely communicate with people, please do so. And remember not to totally isolate yourself during this time. We are going to get through this together, and remember that the world still is a good place. And just by shifting our own mindset and our own paradigm, that's going to truly allow us to embrace that idea more fully. So I encourage you, as always, to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns or show ideas. I definitely want you to be very involved in both the podcast and the YouTube channel. So please reach out to me. You can reach me by email at nena.lavonne@gmail.com, and that is spelled nena.lavonne@gmail. And also you can reach me on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is @Nena Lavonne. So I thank you all so much for spending time with me today, and keep those questions coming, because last week we did do the questions and answers podcast, and I will be doing it hopefully monthly, and I have some questions still left over from the last one, but keep sending them in because they are really insightful and fun, and I do hope to answer every single one of them. So that being said, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Try to stay positive and know you are loved. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you next time.